Good morning, students. Today we will start our new topic, that is the respiration. In the last section we have studied about the nutrition. In nutrition, what you have seen? You have seen that after the digestion process, the food particles after digestion undergo for absorption and assimilation. What about the assimilation and absorption? It means after assimilation it will become a part of the cell. For what purposes? You will know that there are purposes like providing of energy, like body building materials for growth, repair, etc. But the job of the nutrition is completed up to that extent. But how the energy, like when we talking about the glucose molecule, which now present within the cell, from this glucose molecule we want energy. So this is not the job of the nutrition. The job of the nutrition is that it has sent, it has assimilated, it has absorbed these molecules into the cell. But after that, the job of the respiration will be started. How the energy will be liberated from the glucose, and what after the liberation of energy, the different metabolic processes in which those energy will be utilized. This is the fact. That is why the process of respiration means breaking down or oxidative breaking down stepwise within the cell. The stepwise breaking down, oxidative breaking down of the glucose molecule within the cell, by which energy is liberated. And this is the topic, that is the respiration. But before we will start the topic, just I have given an idea to you, but before that I want that this topic, for our own convenience, we should distribute it into the following three parts. What are those three parts? Number one, in the number one part, we will study about the introduction, process and mechanisms, types, comparative account, how it will different from the other physiological or from the other metabolic processes or the other life processes which we have studied in the previous section, or maybe we shall study in the next section. These are the some facts we have distributed for our convenience, how we distributed the entire syllabus, that is the content for study viewpoint. We may distributed it into the three parts. Part number one, where we will study about its introduction, definition, mechanism, process, types, etc. And in the second part, we shall discuss. What we shall discuss in the second part? We shall discuss, as this process is based on the exchange of gases. So, that is also very important part of the topic. That is why the second part, exchange of gases, exchange of gases, both we will discuss both in plants as well as animals. So, here is the second part. It is the shorter one. This topic is short topic. It is not larger in comparison to nutrition. We will compare this topic. It is shorter one, and it will take less time. We have spent a lot of time in our previous topic, but in this topic we will not take so much time. In the second part, we will study about the exchange of gases both in plants and animals. What about the third and last part? In the last part, we will study the mechanism, part 3, mechanism and respiratory system in human or man. We have some facts about our content of the topic. What are the content of the topic? We have distributed the entire content of the topic into the 3 different parts. The first part, in which we will discuss about the introduction, process, mechanism, etc., etc. And in the second part, we shall discuss about the exchange of gases, how the exchange of gases takes place in plants and in animals. And in the third part, we shall study about the mechanism, a short mechanism of the respiration in human and the respiratory system. So, these are the facts about this topic. Now, as we have seen that in our previous section, that nutrition is essential for providing of energy, for the bodybuilding materials, for growth, repairing and for the protection purposes. How those things will be fulfilled, what I earlier told you, that that is not the job of the nutrition, that will be the job of the respiration, how the energy will be released from the glucose. The process of respiration, if we write the definition in a very brief manner, then we may write in this way: it is also biochemical process, the biochemical process in which stepwise breaking down of respiratory substrate, that is mainly the glucose, food molecules. Within the cell, during which energy is liberated, is known as respiration. Here is the definition, the biochemical. That means it is also a biochemical process, just like that of the photosynthesis. And in this process, what happened? There is a stepwise, not at once. Here may you carefully note the word stepwise. This will helpful in the for the understanding of the mechanism. We will discuss this one. Breaking down of respiratory substrate. I have not directly written glucose or the food molecules. I have written respiratory substrate as because you should understand that during the process of respiration, the food particles are the glucose molecule which will go for oxidative breaking down is known as respiratory substrate. The chief respiratory substrate in the living organism is the glucose for both plants and animals. There may be possibilities that protein, fat, etc. also act as a respiratory substrate. So, here you may know that what is the respiratory substrate. Within the cell during which energy is liberated is known as respiration. So, this is the definition of respiration. From this definition, we have came to the conclusion that like the other physiological activities or the metabolic activities of the cell or the biochemical activities of the cell, it is also a biochemical process. And in this process, there is something just like the destruction, breaking down, that means destruction, टूटने का process. इसलिए इसको ब्रेकिंग डिस्ट्रक्टिव प्रोसेस भी कहा जाता है. और अगर हम लोग इस प्रोसेस को इन व्यू ऑफ द मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज़ देखेंगे, बॉडी के अंदर जो मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज़ है, तो उसके दो जो पार्ट हैं, द टू मेन पार्ट्स ऑफ द मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज़ लाइक द एनाबॉलिज्म एंड कैटाबॉलिज्म. एंड दैट एनाबॉलिज्म मीन्स द कंस्ट्रक्शन, that means from the simple substances when a complex molecule will be formed, that is the anabolic. And here you may see that glucose like the C6H12O6, it is now complex and it will undergo stepwise breaking down and ultimately I have written here, I will explain it again. Here just I have written that this is the process in which something is breaking with the help of oxygen. So that breaking down means the destructive, that is the catabolic. So that this process will come under the catabolic. And you have seen in the case of photosynthesis, that was the process in which from the simple substances there is a formation of some complex substances. That is why that is known as the anabolic, and from these complex substances there are liberation of energy and formation of simple substances, and this is the catabolic process. So this is some definition of the process. Now what I have written here in this chemical equation of respiration. Here may I write again that reaction. There are presence of glucose molecule within the cell. It is the chemical equation of the respiration process. We will discuss that which type of respiration process and that chemical reaction related of which type of chemical which type of respiration process. But this is the type of respiration during which there is a complete breaking down of glucose molecules takes place. That is why in the first step we have written this reaction, and this is the final reaction of the aerobic or the respiration type which takes place in the presence of oxygen. That is why I have written here clearly that this is the final reaction. So, this final reaction in which we have seen that there are glucose molecule, one molecule of glucose and oxygen. This is the oxygen and this is the carbon dioxide, water and energy. So, here the one molecule of glucose require 6 molecules of oxygen for complete breaking down. And after breaking down of this glucose molecule, what will happen? There are formation of carbon dioxide, there are formation of water and there are liberation of energy. This is the energy, this is the energy which will converted into the ATP molecule. Then there are 38 ATP molecule will be produced. ATP 38 ATP molecule will be formed with the help of that liberated energy. So, this is the overall chemical equation of respiration. But the process of respiration do not take place directly or instantly. It will take place step by step. So, what are those steps? We may discuss first that those steps. So, here respiration, may you understand here that respiration has 2 important steps. What are those 2 important steps? The first step is the glycolysis, which occurs within the cytoplasm, and the second step during which complete breaking down of glucose takes place, and that will occur within the mitochondria. And the name of the step is just like this is the glycolysis, and it is known as Krebs cycle. This is known as Krebs cycle. This is the first step, that is the glycolysis, and this is the second step, that is the Krebs cycle. You have seen here the first step occur within the cytoplasm, and the second step will occur within an specialized cell organelle, that is the mitochondria, that mainly related with this process. That is why mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Why? As because this is the site where there is a complete breaking down of the glucose molecule and the liberation of energy taking place. Now, may you know that in class 9 you have studied about this cell organelle, mitochondria. It is the double membrane cell organelle. Just I may draw a simple diagram. May you have forget, that's why may it again come to in your knowledge. This is the diagram of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a cell organelle which bonded with the two membrane. But here the membrane, just if you will draw a diagram where there are presence of the two membrane, simply may you draw like in this way. That is the outer membrane, this is the inner membrane. But what happened here to this inner membrane? This inner membrane has modified that finger like projection. That is the specialties, of this organelle to facilitate the production of energy. That is the specialties. Here this is the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane, and this is the inner membrane. This is the inner membrane. So this is the outer membrane, this is the inner membrane. Inner membrane has modified. What I have show you here, that if you will draw a simple double membrane structure, so this structure is like looking like this one, but here this is not looking like this one, as because there is a modification. यहाँ पे आपने जो देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पे चेंजिंग है, यहाँ पे ये जो है फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शन है, और इस फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शन को क्या कहा जाता है? इस फिंगर लाइक प्रोजेक्शन को क्रिस्टे कहा जाता है। क्रिस्टे, CRISTAE, क्रिस्टे कहा जाता है। तो यहाँ पे जो दो पार्ट मैंने आपको पहले जो मेम्ब्रेन का बताया, ये एक आउटर एंड दिस वाज द इनर, एंड द इनर मेम्ब्रेन प्रोजेक्टेड इन दिस मैनर, एंड दैट इज नोन एज द क्रिस्टे, एंड दिस इंटायर, it is the intermembrane space. The space, this space, this is the space, this is the space, this is the space, this is the space between these two membrane, this one, just like this one. That here is as it has been modified, that's why it looking differently, not like in this regular manner. Here is irregular, here is something, here is another, here is something, here is so that is why it looking differently. But this one is the interspace membrane. दो मेम्ब्रेन के बीच में जो स्पेस है वो ये है। और उसके बाद इनर, आफ्टर द इनर मेम्ब्रेन, व्हाट इज द कंटेंट ऑफ दिस सेल ऑर्गेनेली? द इंटायर कंटेंट ऑफ दिस सेल ऑर्गेनेली इज द मैट्रिक्स. You have seen in many cases, and within this matrix there are presence of a lot of enzyme which helpful in breaking down of the glucose molecule during the process of cellular respiration. This is here there are special particles present. That special particles are known as, it is looking like here in the cristae. Here in the cristae there are presence of special particles, and these particles are related with the liberation process. And there are presence of ribosomes. Ribosomes are also present, and there are presence of DNA. That means it has their own DNA. You well know that is known as semi-autonomous organelle. It has their own genetic material. The mitochondria and the another cell organelle like that of the plastid possess these two these features. That means they having their own genetic material. So this is the DNA, and this particle is known as oxysomes. Oxysomes are F0, F0, F1 particles. That is the special particles related with the liberation of energy, related with the Krebs cycles reactions. And this is the RNA, sorry, ribosomes, not RNA, sorry. This is the RNA particles, sorry, ribosomes. So, those type of cell organelle having their own genetic material like the DNA and the ribosomes, they are known as semi-autonomous. And the two different types of cell organelle especially featuring these characters like the mitochondria and the other one is the plastid. So, we have just, it is not included in your syllabus that you may require it the structure of the mitochondria, but just I have shown you to understand about the second steps. It is also no need for the chemistry of the glycolysis or chemistry of the Krebs cycle, as because it is not an easy process. The entire process in the entire process there are involvement of many more enzymes in each and every step. By the influence of the enzymes, each and every step will be completed, and that is why it is also a complex process. And now just we may come to our main part, that is the, we have seen here there are two different steps or phases. There are two respiration, there are two different steps or phases of respiration, that is the glycolysis and the Krebs cycle for the complete breaking down of the food molecules. Now, there are different types of organism, their body designs are different, there are some simple organism, there are some complex organism. How they accomplish the process? They, in their body, the process occurs in different ways. That means the pathway of the breaking down of the glucose molecule takes place differently in the different organism. If we will look about those different steps or the different pathway, then we also know simultaneously the types of respiration. In the, just we have seen in the step of the respiration that there are two important phase and steps of reaction, and I also told you that there are different types of organism and they should take several steps for breaking down of the glucose molecule within their body or within their cell. Now, look here, number one, that is the glucose. This is the 6 carbon molecule within the cytoplasm. It will broken into the pyruvate or the pyruvic acid. This is the 3 carbon molecule. Energy is also released during this process. This the first step, that is the here what we have seen from this part to that part, that is the glycolysis. Glycolysis. So, this glycolysis process is the first step, and now when we study about these different pathways which may be taken by the different types of or opted by the different types of organism, how they complete the breaking down process. So, we may look here that it is the within the presence of oxygen. There are first condition when there is a availability of the oxygen, and within the presence of oxygen when there is a further breaking down of this pyruvate within the mitochondria takes place within, that is known as the Krebs cycle step, and in this step there is a complete breaking down. There is a complete breaking down of the glucose particles and a liberation of high amount of energy. And if with the help of that energy, if there is a synthesis of ATP, then there near about 38 ATP molecules will be formed. It is the first. In the second case, we may see in the yeast, fungi, and in the bacteria, in many bacteria also, there are no availability of the oxygen for breaking down of the glucose molecule, and that the process will be completed only within the cytoplasm with the help of the enzyme, and that in that process there may be different types of products. It is the main product which has been seen within the yeast, that is the ethyl alcohol, that is the C2H5OH plus carbon dioxide plus energy. As there is a no complete breaking down, there is a partial breaking down. That is why there is a little amount of energy liberated, and if with the help of that energy, if there is a synthesis of ATP, then only the 2 molecules of ATP will be synthesized. This is the fact. And in the third case, we may see here lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen. This step is not for any category of the organism. It is the organism, just like in our body also, when there is an instant requirement of energy, and that energy, like when you are doing exercise, you are climbing on a mountain, at that time our body, within our body, within the muscular tissue, there is a breaking down of the glucose, and with the help of that there is a instant supply of energy takes place, and that is the थर्ड स्टेप एंड द थर्ड पाथवे ऑफ द ब्रेकिंग डाउन. ये तीसरा पाथवे जो आपने देखा कि लैक्टिक एसिड का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, एनर्जी जब बहुत तुरंत माने एनर्जी चाहिए उसको, और वो एनर्जी जो हमारे बॉडी में जो एक स्पेसिफिक पाथवे है वो स्लो है, ग्रेजुअली चल रहा है. वी वुड लाइक टू कंप्लीट अप टू दिस एक्सटेंट. इन लेटर क्लास वी शैल डिस्कस more and more about that. What we have already given you an idea that how will you study and what are the content. We are in the first part of the content, that is the introductory, mechanism, process, types, etc. And in the second part we shall study about the exchange of gases, how exchange of gases takes place within the different types of organism. And in the third part we shall study about the respiration process of man. That's